Good morning. I'm Rose Picard. This is Godly Play for Sunday, February 14th. This is the story of St. Valentine. I wonder why we remember Valentine. Let's see. There once was a man named Valentine who lived in ancient Rome. Not in one of the really big fancy houses of smooth white marble, but in a room above the busy street. He was a doctor. In his rooms, he had many things to heal people, mostly herbs that he picked in the fields outside the city. He used something like this to mix all the herbs to put in his medicine. When people came to see him, sometimes they didn't have money to pay him. So instead, he would accept something that they had made, a pair of sandals or maybe some nice warm bread. Not everyone knew, but Valentine was also a priest. That had to be kept secret, because in those days, being a Christian was against the law. Whenever anything bad happened in the city, they would blame the Christians and put them in jail, or even worse. So when Valentine prayed, he did so quietly after closing his door. One day, an old man and a little girl came to Valentine's home. She could not see. She was the old man's daughter. The old man took care of the prisoners at the jail in Rome. Valentine knew that it would be hard to cure her because she had been blind since birth. But he loved to talk to her, and he put something cool and wet on her eyes to make them feel better. When the old man wanted to pay, Valentine said he didn't want any payment. He loved talking with the little girl. At night, when he prayed for his patients, he prayed the most for the little girl. Valentine and that little blind girl became good friends. Sometimes, when her father was busy at the jail, Valentine and the little girl would go into the fields and pick the herbs he used to heal people. The little girl loved to pick the first flowers in the springtime in Rome, and she would always give them to her father. One time, Valentine heard a noise outside of his door. He hoped it was the little girl, but instead it was something else. It was very terrible. The soldiers had figured out that Valentine was a Christian. They came into his home and took him away. They took him to the very jail that the little girl's father worked at. The old man could hardly believe his eyes when Valentine was brought to the jail. He didn't know what to do. A few days later, the soldiers came to take Valentine away. Before he left, he asked the old man for a pen, a paper, and something to write on. A few days later, the soldiers came to take Valentine away. Before he left, he asked for some ink and something to write on. The jailer hurried and got these things for him. When he came back, Valentine wrote something on the piece of paper. He rolled it up, and he said, "Please give this to your little girl." And then he said goodbye, putting a hand on the jailer's shoulders and looking him in the eye. The old man watched as he disappeared, and he knew he would never see Valentine again. That night, when he went home, he gave the rolled-up piece of paper to his little girl. The little girl unrolled the paper, and when she did, a flower fell out, and she asked her father what the piece of paper said. He unrolled it, and it said, "From your Valentine." When the little girl picked up the flower, she was able to see it. She was no longer blind. We remember Valentine because he loved so well. I wonder what part of the Valentine story you liked best. I wonder where you would be in the story of Valentine. Thank you for joining me for Godly Play. Have a blessed week.